Hi, everyone. I am so excited to have Andy here as my guest, and I'm going to ask him a lot of questions, and we're going to have a chat. And first of all, I'm so impressed that you direct and cast dubbing for Netflix, HBO, Apple. Is it animation for Crunchyroll or video
Yeah,
games or
yeah. I've done animation for them. Yeah.
so for someone to be able to be cast in to dub something, what do
hmm
they have to know how to do?
hmm Well, it's very much a cold reading art form. I've cast shows. I recently cast a show that had 600 voices in it.
Yikes.
I did not put out 600 sides. I put out five. Um, so a lot of people and I cast everything from those sides. So a lot of people didn't even know what they were playing until they showed up.
Like the old Woody Allen
Yeah,
auditioning for his
yeah,
films.
yeah. You don't necessarily know what you're doing until you get there to do it. And it's such a tight NDA medium. You're not allowed to talk about anything. Even when I send out sides, I have to send out dummy sides. I can't send out anything that lets you know what country it's from, what
Mm.
show it is. I mean, I can let you know if it's comedy or serious, and I can kind of let you know the idea of the scene. But I need people that are great cold readers, that are not afraid to make choices, that whose process is not a slow process. If the process is, I have to find it, I need some time to think about it. I respect that as a performer, but I don't have time for it. Everybody wants everything better, faster, and cheaper right now. And these are some of the most popular shows on the air. So there's more and more and more of them. I really need people that are not afraid to make fast choices, not worried about if they're right or not. People that are in it to connect with other people because we're worker bees. There's a queen bee in an office with a checkbook somewhere that most of us will never meet. And the rest of us are all just workers trying to make sure the hive is ready and full of honey before it rains. Um, and somebody really needs to be able to do that. There's no place for egos, including mine. So,
So when they um, finally do get booked,
mhm.
do they have to be in the studio with you, or can, if they don't live
it,
where the main
it's
studio is, how does that work for this?
Local hire tends to be the preference, but it's not the end all be all. I have worked with people remotely. There's a lot of things, not just Source Connect, but there's a lot of ways to do it now. Especially if somebody has established a character from before, or sometimes we like if somebody's a high profile performer that we're dubbing, one of the first things we do is we look and see who's dubbed this person before. Um, I worked on a show called Valeria for Netflix. Natalie Avital was the main director. I was the second director on season four. And one of the leads who was in the studio in season one moved to Canada. And so she had to do a lot of remote. So yes, it is absolutely possible, but most people prefer local hire because it's sort of no muss, no fuss for us. Local hire doesn't mean you have to live here. It just means you have to be here when we need you to be here. We have to be able to schedule you as if you did. So,
Obviously, at their own
yeah,
expense.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
local hire.
Yeah.
You can live in Wyoming,
Yeah.
but yeah, so.
So when you're dubbing a film
hmm
and you say they have to think fast and there's a lot of changes, I mean, isn't
hmm
there a script that they're handed because they have to match the mouth
hmm
movements and what they're saying on the film? So why do they have to be able to think so fast and, be ready for changes and when there
Well,
isn't there a specific script?
There is a specific script, but A, it changes. B, we don't hand it to anybody. There are a lot of animation projects are still doing kind of what's now sort of an older school kind of read where you'll get the PDF on a tablet in the room and we'll tell you what cue to go to. We'll play the scene. You'll get to see what's going on. You'll see the vibe. You'll catch a lot of what we call lip flap, which are the mouth movements. You'll go down, you'll look at your little script in your iPad, memorize as much of it as you can, and then try and make it match a lot of live action and actually now a lot of animation too. This is where it's going. There are programs. One of the most popular ones is called Voice Cue. And what it does is it scrolls your lines across the bottom in what we call a rhythmoband. It's kind of like this karaoke track where
Hmm.
there's a marker. There's a lot of different versions of it. Some studios have their own proprietary version. They all work basically the same way, and you've got to read it on the fly. But yeah, there is a script, but often, pretty much always, to varying degrees, the script is going to change. We could get a great performance, but there are two, we call them labials, which are identifiable mouth movements. There's labials, which are M's, P's, things like that. There are dentalabials, which are S's, T's, things like that, that show more teeth. If something is really pronounced, we may have to rewrite a line to put an M or a P there. We may, if the mouth is moving a lot, and even if the original language had four words, those four words might have eight P's in it, which means, in English, we might have to turn that into 20 words. So there's a lot of rewriting on the fly to
Are
get
you responsible for that as you're directing?
usually the director does it. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or at least okays it. I actually have been lucky that in my past few shows, I haven't needed to do as much of it, but I've also had engineers that are really good at it.
Mm.
um, because everybody's got their eyes on it from a different point of view, and we all have the same goal. So an engineer may not be as concerned with actual performance,
Hmm.
more accuracy. Um, so, I mean, ideally, everybody's focused on both, but everybody's got their priority, their job they're getting paid for. So, yeah, there is ultimately the director is responsible for either okaying the rewrite or doing the rewrite. Yeah,
I'm
you rewrite fast.
assuming it must be very comforting if you're working with an engineer that you really like to work with, who you know
Mhm.
can pick up on these things. But if whoever, whether it's Netflix or HBO, they must like give you an engineer, right? You can't pick your team, right? Or can you?
I can request. I can request who I want, but sometimes no. I sometimes get. I was really lucky. The person I requested for this last project, um, I requested them because I know we work really well together. We have a great rapport. We understand each other. But also, this person is fluent in the native language of the original
Oh,
project. And I've been in situations where the initial translation is not always that great. And I'm like, I feel like that's not really what they're saying here.
hmm.
So, if at all possible, if I don't know the language, I prefer to have somebody who does. But there's
Wow.
always, yeah, there's always a lifeline. You can always make a call,
I'm
you know.
impressed. I'm
Yeah,
really, I'm
it's a
really
lot. It's it
impressed.
it's a lot of
Wow.
really fast thinking. There is no time to doubt yourself.
Wow. For
You
you
make a
too.
choice, you do it. Yeah, oh, me too. And the engineer, and the producer. Timelines are really tight. I've gotten the release date on a show that I'm going to have coming up, but they haven't given us scripts or video or start date. They
But you
told
have
us
to
when it's
release.
due.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told us when it's due, but they
Yeah.
haven't given us anything to do with it.
Well,
Yeah, so I'm going
for a
to,
commercial, I get from my producer the whole production
yeah,
timeline. So it is the producer. There's the release date, and
right.
the producers have to go backwards and feed,
Hmm.
yeah, figure it out to that date.
Yeah. Yeah.
So getting back to the talent,
Mhm.
whoa, like how do talent learn this? And or two things. How do they learn it? And then how do you get to know talent who can do this? Like how do talent prove to you or get on your
Mhm.
radar that they can even do this?
Right. Well, it's not
Do you
really.
audition for this?
We
No.
do.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
do.
do. We do. We
Oh.
put out castings. Um, Sometimes we'll even audition you in the booth and see how to do it.
Mhm.
But if we have any question about it, sometimes the network wants to be more involved. If it's something really high profile, I've worked on a few shows where the network did want final approval. I've worked on other shows where I have autonomy. I can cast who I want to cast. Um, a lot of it is learning on the fly, but what I will say is you have to know how to act. Um, a lot of people are trained. I know they're good actors, but not everybody can act fast. There is a big network of people who do what I do. We get together, we go out for drinks, we all have a WhatsApp chat.
Oh.
And we all constantly are asking each other for suggestions.
Oh.
On this recent project, the lead was a very unusual spec, and I didn't have a lot of people off the top of my head. And so I reached out. I reached out to the community, and somebody had offered up somebody that happened to match the spec. There's always somebody who's done something similar. And they offered me a few suggestions, and one of the people booked it, and they were great. They were really great. So in this business, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. But what people should know is if somebody's reached out to you with an audition, we already believe you can do it.
Mhm.
It's not your job to prove you're great at this. So as far as proving yourself, if you've been cast, it's proven. If you're auditioning, it's already proven that we feel you can do it. Now it's just your job to not prove that we were wrong.
Interesting. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And don't lie. I have had people that have said they've done this kind of thing before because they think, oh,
Oh,
it's easy, and just couldn't do it. And that sets back the timeline, that kind of thing we remember.
whoa.
Yeah, that be honest. It's if somebody doesn't have a lot of experience, but feels like they're a good cold reader, be honest about it. It doesn't mean we won't cast you. Uh, it doesn't mean you won't get a lead, but sometimes when we want to find new people, networks are pushing us to find new people, and they should, and that's a great thing. Um, we will sometimes try somebody out on a smaller role or a number of incidental roles to see how we work together, see how you do, because the environment in the booth and how we work together is really just as important. It's got to be fast, it's got to be efficient, and it's got to be good.
So speaking of the smaller roles, that could get
Mhm.
into Walla and all that. Is that a whole different casting director that takes
No,
care of that part?
no,
Film?
Walla is tricky. There are times when we use it and times when we don't. If it's something is unscripted, like I directed the dub of Love is Blind France and Too Hot to Handle Brazil and Too Hot to Handle Germany and a whole bunch of others, Badly in Love. Um, we have Walla in the script, but we don't usually use it because that particular style of dubbing, it doesn't matter if you can hear people in the original language. If it's something scripted, like something a show I worked on called Roosters, which I love, um, that's a little different because sometimes the studio will supply a Walla track, and if we don't hear really identifiable voices in the original language, we may just leave it. Uh, if we can hear things that are very identifiable as Dutch in that case, or
Mhm.
French in case of another project I did, then we have to get Walla. But usually when somebody's in the room, if we finished a little bit early, we'll be like, okay, you're at a bus station, go.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
Uh-huh.
talking in a restaurant. Okay, you're looking at the aliens landing.
Right.
And what we get from people for people who don't know how to do that, you're talking at an appropriate volume for the situation and don't say anything interesting.
Don't
Yeah, there's
stand
no,
out.
there's no, oh, so the doctor said I could just burn it off with a laser.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to draw focus,
Yeah.
you know? It's as mundane conversation as you can get. And usually we'll get that with whoever's in the room. Incidentals are different. Incidentals are roles that have lines, um, but that's not Walla. They do stand out for whatever reason. It could be a waiter, could be a person at a counter, it could be somebody yelling, "It's an invasion, run for your life." Those are moments that are supposed to stand out, and usually one person will do many of them. Those are usually the last things I cast. And to be honest, not everybody does this, but sometimes even into recording, I even hold some back because I want to see who's doing what when we're in the booth, who we might have time for stuff. But also, I mean, and not everybody does this, and it's certainly not a promise, but occasionally somebody needs 2 hours to make insurance or
Mhm.
and if it's somebody I know that needs help or somebody that's recommended, it's the studio is going to be paying somebody 2 hours to do that anyway. So,
Right.
if I can help somebody out, I will.
Now, do your breakdowns go out through agents?
I do go through agents. I also go direct.
Mm.
Not everybody great is represented. And not everybody who's represented is right for everything or even available. Um, so yeah, I do. I go direct to people and I go through agents. And honestly, sometimes I cast from past castings. Often. If
Well,
somebody has read like the fun brother for me 5 times and I know that their voice hasn't changed, I might just cast them from a past audition. I don't really feel a need to have them do the same thing again.
so when you're referring to you casting them, placing them in
Hmm.
the role, it's
Right.
sounding like you have much more say than
Hmm.
a commercial casting director, me. Um, I bring my clients a variety of choices that
Hmm.
they choose. They might ask me my opinion, but they choose. It sounds like you're actually choosing.
Uh, yeah, in this kind of work, often the casting director chooses.
Wow.
I'm I direct most of what I cast, so I tend to have more autonomy on that. There is always an eye over me. There are sometimes reasons why a studio wouldn't want somebody or a network wouldn't want somebody. Sometimes they're really identifiable in another show
Uh-huh.
as a different kind of character, or a conflicting character, or something like that. They may not want that person, or that person was in a different season in a different role, and now they don't want them necessarily to come back because people in something with a big following, like a Squid Game or something, which is not one of mine, but just as an example,
Mhm.
um, somebody may not want somebody who died in season one who had a big role to come back
Hmm.
in season two. Um, so there are reasons why people would step in as much as you might want to work with somebody. But yeah, we do tend to have a little more autonomy. It's not 100%. There's a lot of criteria about what gets somebody cast or not, and not all of it is the quality of their audition. Sometimes people really audition well, and I really want to use them, and I just can't. Sometimes, often actually, sometimes people don't audition that well, but I happen to know them and I've
Hmm.
seen other work and I know that they're better than their audition and I will cast them.
So once you make your choices, then do
Mhm.
you have to bring the present the auditions to someone or some team to okay it?
I would love to say yeah, but often no. People hire me. I hire an actor because I don't really want to do any more work than I absolutely have to do. I want to know somebody's gonna show the hell up, do the job, and get the hell out. That's what I want. I want to know it's fast, efficient. People can have problems. I just don't want them to be my problems. And people hire me as a director for the same reason. People
Oh,
want to
that's
hire
right. You're
me.
the casting director. That's why
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
someone,
yeah, yeah. And as
actor.
the casting director, um, people want to hire you because it's hard for them. It's not as hard for you. You know who to bring in, you know where to find people, you know all the things they don't. Um, People who hire me, they're okay with me having problems. They just don't want them to become their problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's why people hire me, and that's why I would hire an actor, and that's why they hire an engineer. That's why you hire a plumber or a doctor or a lawyer or,
Yeah.
yeah, so you don't have to worry about stuff. So yeah, people tend to give me autonomy because it lets them do
I
what,
forgot you're the
yeah,
director too. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Something popped up that I saw, and I was
Mhm.
wondering too, because you said how you can help people out if they need health insurance, money.
Right. That's not a
So are these
guarantee.
all, no, I've done that my whole career too.
Mhm.
Or we used to, the way things were set up.
Yeah.
We do like actors and we are on the actor side.
Yeah, yeah. And nobody gets into this business to not be around people or,
Exactly.
interact with
So
actors.
that would mean that they're union, that so are all these union jobs?
Most of my jobs are union jobs.
Okay.
Some of them are what we call non-jurisdictional,
What
which
does that mean?
that means it's not a union job, but it has been okayed by the union for union people to do it.
Oh,
Yeah, promos are a big example of it because
mm,
not every promo is a big network promo. Some are smaller, some are network affiliates locally
mhm,
that can't afford the union, but you can still do it as a union member. Unscripted things, what we call unscripted, they're kind of known as reality.
mhm,
Our language for that is unscripted. Yeah, those tend to be non-jurisdictional. Um, they're non-union. If something inappropriate were to happen, you still could file a complaint with the union,
mhm.
but it doesn't go toward pension and health. It
I was
doesn't,
gonna ask that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily pay union scale.
Mm.
Um, but the trade-off is they do tend to be, honestly, the most popular shows on TV right now, for the most part. So, yeah, but you still
So
can do it as a union member.
how does someone learn how to do this? How do they become confident? I don't know. How do they learn?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would advise somebody to do, because learning, it's tricky. You may already know. A lot of people already know how to do it. They just don't know they know. And what holds them back is they're nervous about their ability. There are classes which some classes are really, really good, um, which will give you an example of what it is and how you fit into it, and pointers, of course, because that's what classes are about. It's going to be your best exposure to this line of work. There are workshops that you can do. Some are very affordable and they're one-offs. You might not even like it. I mean, maybe you can do it, but you don't want to.
Mm.
So
Do you
this
give
would be,
any workshop?
I've given classes, mostly one-off classes. And I know some other people, especially in LA, some of them are live, some of them are online, that are really good. It's going to give you the best feel of this kind of work, your ability to do it, your desire to do it. And again, a lot of them are taught like this is a very, very friendly, very tight-knit business. If somebody is good, I've had teachers, most of these teachers also direct and cast. And, we all work in the same studios and we all see each other at lunch and we all have lunch together and we all go out after. And I know a lot of directors that are talking to somebody they met in a class that maybe they hired. Again, classes are never guarantees, but it does happen. I mean, it's just never a promise. Um, but who met people and they're like, oh, Andy, you need to meet this person. They are amazing. You really, and I take that very seriously. So it is a step. It's like anything else, getting into it. It's not who
Yeah,
you know who knows you.
fascinating. I think
Mhm.
I asked mainly my main questions. Jamie, can
Uh-huh.
we open it up to specific questions?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Andy, before we, oh, someone asked the question, if there's
Mhm.
anything you want to add to whatever.
Yeah. What I could say first and foremost, no matter what you're doing in this business, whether it's straight acting, it's stage, it's screen, it's TV, um, there are a lot of people who take a class and they'll learn a technique, and the technique is not working quickly for them, and they'll think it's them and they'll struggle with it and they'll get on the job and they're trying to make, if something doesn't work for you, it doesn't work. You do not need to worry about it. When you step into a space, somebody already trusts you. You need to trust yourself as much as that person does. So make a choice. Know that it's right. Know that you can be right without being right. All I need is a choice I understand, so I'll know how to ask you for something else. I understand everybody's nervous going in, but there's a lot of strength in knowing that your instincts will probably guide you in the right direction. And I'd rather have somebody that makes a quick decision with
Mm,
100% commitment, and I can jump in and go, okay, no, let's go this other way with it, and you can do that.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that means you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That means you're good, not
Mhm.
struggling for 15 minutes and then coming up with something else.
Right. And insecure and
Yeah,
apologizing with
yeah,
anything, really.
yeah, yep,
All right,
yeah.
here's Ralph. Let's see. I'm trying to hold on a minute. Let me
Hey, man.
remove this spotlight. Um, I'm gonna spotlight you and I'm gonna add
Hey.
Andy. There you go. You're both on.
All right.
Hey, Terry, thanks for
Hi.
putting this
Hi,
on.
Ralph.
And Andy, thanks for answering the questions. Um,
Thanks.
you did say something about Wyoming earlier,
Hmm.
somebody being from Wyoming. What about South Dakota? Are you okay
No,
with that?
South Dakota's out of the question. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, snap.
yeah, yeah. Either Dakota really just is a no-go.
Well, my actual question is,
Mhm.
what's the fastest way for an actor to lose your interest in an audition?
Okay. Um, I'll say this because there's a lot of talk about this kind of thing. I'm glad you asked it. It's sort of another version of, how do we grab your attention in the first 10 seconds? It's sort of another version of that. Um, my biggest issue with that is that it really shouldn't even be a concern. A lot of people put it out there. They'll be like, you have to grab somebody in the first 10 seconds, and then they won't tell you how. So it's just the thing that makes you nervous. I'm going to answer you from that perspective, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Um, when I'm listening, when I'm casting something, right? I have a lot of characters that I need to cast. And so say I send you sides for Mike, Steve, and Tom, right? You send in your auditions for all of those on your separate tracks and you name it accordingly and you do what we asked and you're a good actor and you do what you're told. And so now I'm casting the Mike role and I listen to your Mike audition. And in the first 10, 15 seconds, I'm like, okay, it's a good audition, but it's not Mike. Mike is all I'm thinking about right now. right? So maybe you don't go into the selects folder. Now I move over to Steve, right? Now I'm listening to your Steve audition and like, okay, this is definitely not Steve, but his mic audition was kind of Stevie. So I'll drag your mic audition into the Steve selects folder. And then I'm on to Tom, and I listened to your Tom, and your Tom audition was really great, but your Steve audition was also another really good take on something that Tom could be that I don't know yet, that I'll decide later. So it's very, very immediately contextual. There's nothing that you could do. Honestly, if I had one thing that somebody could do that could guarantee it, I wouldn't be saying it here. I'd be selling it for like $10,000 on the internet, as a guarantee. This kind of thinking is just something to worry about. It's not what loses my interest. It's I don't have time to invest in anything that I'm not going to use. Now, let's say you send in your auditions and none of them happen to be right. Something happened at the last minute, and all three of these guys need to be way higher voice than you happen to be. But we keep auditions. Almost everybody I know, and I only say almost because I haven't discussed it with everybody, but everybody I've talked to about it, we bank auditions. Rachel Slotky, who was the head of casting at IUNO for a little while, long while actually, she had a folder she called Strong But Wrong, which I really like, and I would totally take credit for it if I didn't think I would get busted. Um, which is people that were really great, but just happen to not be right for that project. The losing my interest, I would say don't worry about it. If you've been asked to audition, there's something there. You got to just do what you feel is right. And it's not losing somebody's interest. It's you happen to be right for the role or not, depending on a billion different factors, most of which you don't have any control over. But your audition's your kid. You have it. You send it out into the world, and it will call you when it gets a job. But it's always out there trying. So I would say don't just yeah, you're going to be nervous about it maybe a little bit, but remove it from your psyche. There's a lot of teaching fear that happens out there. You got to get us in the first 10 seconds. If you don't do this, somebody's going to get bored. I've been in this business for 32 years. My experience is most of that is not true in any consistent way that you need to worry about.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you gave 10 seconds, whereas I've heard 3 seconds.
Well,
And
sometimes three is,
uh,
but
it's just do you. That's what you're saying is just
yeah,
do
do
you. If
you?
it lands, it
Yeah.
lands.
Yeah, because honestly, 10 seconds, 3 seconds, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's nothing for you to worry about.
I
All
love
right.
your
Thank you.
answer. I
Thanks.
basically answer the same way. Like
Mhm,
when someone asks me that, I say, why are you even thinking that way? Like you need to get past that
mhm,
point, Ralph, where you feel so good about your auditioning and yay, I'm given a chance. I've been given a chance to show my stuff. That a
mhm.
question like that, you want to get to a point where a question like that isn't even doesn't
Yeah,
matter to you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The only reason I really ask that question is
Why?
because it's on a list of questions that I have, and it's just random,
Well, get
throw in a
off of
dart.
the list. Get
Yeah,
off
erase
of
it.
the list.
It's off.
Erase it. Keeping on that list is going to keep it in your brain.
Pasta
Make your
lasagna.
own
It's
list.
by.
Make your own list, right?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I love your
For
voice. I'm banking that voice, by the way. When I have a
Right.
Well, hear
motorcycle
one every
spot,
morning.
I know.
I've
My
met
next
you
wrestler
before.
show.
Yep.
Hey, been
Um,
there, done that.
before we bring the next person up, Terry, there were a couple people that asked questions earlier in the chat, so I do just want to acknowledge them as well.
okay.
Diana Lansleen, if you're still here, my dear, I saw you had a question for Andy. I see you hearting it, so I
Yeah,
think so.
there's a
If you're
heart.
able to turn your camera on and come up,
Or if they're
if not,
not ready, just bring someone who's ready and put the ones that aren't ready in the queue so we can
okay.
move on. Okay?
All right.
Good.
Yep, I'll come back to you then, Diana. Jessica Mars, I saw you had a question, hun. Do you want to come up?
Jessica Mars.
Hello.
How are you? Life on
Hello.
Mars?
I don't see
Hello.
her. I don't see her. I
Yeah,
have
it's
to
not coming on.
spotlight her.
Hello, I'm here, but my camera won't come on. I don't
No.
know if you've got control of that. Hello, Andy. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone. This is my second time being in one of your workshops
Welcome.
this week, Andy,
We
and I'm
love
so
that you've
grateful
returned.
Yeah, hey.
for you. I don't know why my camera won't come on. Meeting alert. You cannot start your
If
video.
you can just ask your questions so we can move on.
Very good. My question is how important is it that we speak other languages other than English, like native languages? I do, so that's why I wanted to know.
Um, Generally speaking, I would say it's not the defining factor. Um, Although I did have a couple of very specific projects recently where it is important to the story that somebody speaks their original language,
Mhm.
and it has to be native. So it's it's really, if you have that skill, by all means put it out, because it could be, if it's a French show and you don't speak any French, that's fine. We'll take care of that for you. But if it's a French show and there's a scene where you specifically need to be speaking French, so somebody who doesn't speak French doesn't understand what you're saying or something like that, it really helps, because in a situation like that, I am going to go for somebody who can speak a fluent native French without an accent. So there are times when it is very relevant. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
What do
and
you
yep,
speak, Jessica? What do you
I
speak?
speak I speak Italian and Spanish.
Oh, good.
nice. Like you're from there. Like if
No, my mom, when she was alive, she spoke Spanish, so she's
okay,
Argentine. And then I lived in Italy for 3 years when I was young and went to school
cool.
there. And I've worked as an interpreter in medicine.
Oh,
So
Oh,
so
wow.
that,
great. That's
yeah,
yeah,
there's
that's great. Is that
so
on your website?
I'm sorry, is that on my
Is that on
website?
your website?
Yes, there's information about that. Yes, and
Okay, cool.
thank you.
Yeah, you might even want it on the first page. You might even want it in your IMDb bio.
Okay, I will
'Cause
update.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, definitely. Because something like that really matters.
Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Cool. Sure. But
Okay.
again, not speaking another language doesn't mean you won't work. There's a lot of people that work a lot and don't speak other languages.
Who's next, Jamie?
Oh, so Sylvia, we'll come with you. You can put your camera on, hun.
Hey,
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Andy.
how
Thank
are
you.
ya?
Good. I've done some dubbing in reality, and I've done a couple of Mexican films, and dubbed them into English.
Mhm.
Um, how do you just put them on a resume? How do you transfer that to casting directors as yourself and let you know what I've done and
You you absolutely should put out a resume. I'm going to be I'm going to be obvious. I'm going to be honest. And I'll be obvious too. I honestly don't know a lot of people that look at resumes, but we do look at websites. Websites are faster.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we do look at websites. We do look at IMDb, and IMDb actually now has a category for dubbing. They've recently added it. You will need to take a picture of your name in the credits or some other form of proof. Um,
Yeah, that's
but
what I
yeah,
was getting at. How do you prove that you've done this and that in
well,
order to let you know?
if it's on IMDb, we take it as truth.
Okay.
And IMDb actually does kind of make you prove it. If
Yeah,
it's
they vet it. They vet
yeah,
because whenever
yeah,
I'm going to list anything, we're vetted. The
yeah,
information's vetted.
yeah.
And so how do we let you know? Oh, here's my IMDb. How do you see
Okay.
us?
Here,
how do you
Here
market
is why,
yourself to these
Right,
kind of people
yeah,
right,
who cast
right.
this?
How
here
do
is
you
Yeah.
get
why
your byline?
here's why, and the only reason why I love social media. Is social media going to be the reason for the downfall of society? Absolutely, no question. It's already mostly done it. But um, until the hammer finally falls, it is it's a great outlet if you follow people and they follow you back. I'm there we go. Jamie just put up my Insta handle. Um, as soon as you've done something, it throws it in our face. The
Mm,
new Hollywood handshake is, oh, are you on Insta? Um, and as soon as we log on, we see everything you've done. You
I
know,
see.
it is a great, and you can even link it with Facebook. So when you post something on Insta, you can choose, it'll immediately post on Facebook too.
Mhm.
Um,
Are you
Sylvia,
talking
LinkedIn,
video or
huh?
sorry, I'm sorry.
Sylvia, I'm sorry, LinkedIn is a
Yeah,
very good
LinkedIn.
way also.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Are you talking video? Like little
Um,
like
I
diet.
I put a poster of the show or I put a still. Some
Ah,
people, excuse me, some people will film with a camera, their thing if you don't have some other way to get video.
right.
They'll post their scene, they'll talk about it. It doesn't matter. We're actually not investing very much in your post. Um, we're just seeing it and it just registers, you know. Um, it's there, it lets us know what you're doing, it pops you back into our brain.
I
You know,
see.
yeah, and it does give us a confidence. Like I said before, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And then if I do look at your site, it's like, oh, she likes puppies, or um, she likes Bauhaus art or thing. And these are things that sort of make us feel more comfortable with you as a person. Um, it really, really does help, but it's a great outlet to put your stuff. It also, if you meet somebody and you have a conversation, you don't have to talk about yourself. You don't have like that 5 seconds to be, okay, and I did this and this and this and this and this and this.
Right.
And we get a resume, but we have no idea who you are or where we would put you. You can just have a conversation with a person and then you exchange Insta, LinkedIn, IMDb. It'll do your bragging for you. You should also have a website with links on your website.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, keep your Insta up to date. Make sure your contact info is on it, not your phone number, but definitely an email or your agent's contact if you have one.
Right.
Um, make sure because every producer thinks every casting director knows everybody who said 3 words from any, and they'll come to us like, "Oh, could you get Bob? He did a show 6 years for us. I forgot what character he played, but yeah, okay, Bob, sure." And then we got to go to IMDb and go, Bob. Um,
Okay.
So it really, yeah, make sure that's up to date. Everything out there about you
Okay.
throws in our face. Yep. And I'm actually a fan of Linktree also,
Linked.
because Linktree, it's a little free thing. There's a paid version. I don't think the paid version does much more. I don't really know.
Uh-huh.
But Linktree ties it all together. It puts a lot of links in one place.
Mm,
And the way search engine optimization works is that will sort of, if we Google you, your stuff will all kind of come up together. You get your
okay.
IMDb, your website, your Insta, your everything, and it'll all sort of be one thing.
Okay. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
sure.
Sylvia, it doesn't just take once to post it. Like
Yeah.
over the months, over the year, over 2 years, I see someone pop up here, pop up
Mhm,
there. And like Andy said, little by little by little, you start becoming part of our
mhm,
community or the community that we start being familiar with.
mhm.
Great. Thank you so much. That really helped.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Totally.
All right, Diana, I see you're here. So let's go ahead and get you back on.
And then we have Tiff, Tracy, Anoka, Valentina, Maria, Andrew, and that will be it.
So far, this is an easy one.
We make it easy.
That's right.
I don't see her, so should we move on to someone else?
Yeah, I think she's been having
All
trouble
right,
with
then let's move on
unmuting.
to someone else
Tiff?
until she
Tiff.
figures
Hi,
it out.
Andy.
Hey, Tiff and I
I
text anyway.
yeah. I just want to know, like, what does the squirrel in your brain do when you get a project and then, right? Because you just said you one of your more recent ones was like 600 voices. So
Hmm.
of course, then like there's the original material and then there's everything that the people put
Hmm.
in the sides of what they want. So how do you take that and translate it for yourself in order to get the people that you want to work with?
Hmm. Well, first thing, when I'm offered a job, like I said before, when you audition for something, you often don't know what it is. You may not even know what role you're playing until you show up. It's not that different for me. A studio will reach out, and usually we have a really cool project, and they'll tell me when it records and what it pays, but they won't tell me what it is. They won't tell me the initial language. They won't tell, because if I'm not available or say no, I haven't signed an NDA yet. I have to agree to it and sign an NDA. Um, so my first reaction is to say, great, accept the job, and then have a total panic attack because I have no idea what's going on. And then I kind of wait. Once I get materials, I review materials, I watch the show. I look at, sometimes I get what they call a show guide, which is outlining the most important elements. Sometimes it's a character breakdown, but sometimes it deals with key people that have, they want the same person to play it. It deals with language things, it deals with possible triggers. That people might have that we need to deal with. And I look at all of that. I'll put together a breakdown, I'll put it out, or I'll think about the people that don't necessarily need to audition. And I just sort of take it in little steps. You know, looking at the big picture is scary. It really is. And I find even working on a show, even when a session's going great, early on, and I'm really happy with what we came up with. I'm like, yeah, but now we got 4 more weeks to screw it up. Um, so I try not to think too long term. I keep an eye on the end goal, and I know what my job is, and I just do it as I do it. And when it comes time to cast, like I was saying before with Ralph, when I'm casting Mike, I'm just thinking about Mike. I'll catch a screenshot of it. I'll catch a recording of the original voice, which sometimes I kind of want to match, but sometimes I don't. Um, I'll put that in a little folder where I keep everything. And I just take things one thing at a time. A lot of the thing that scares people about auditioning is, what if I don't catch them in that 10 seconds? What if I screw it up? What if I do whatever? And it's not really a legit, it's a concern because you're concerned about it, but it's not a legit concern. It's really just do what you're doing when you're doing it. And that's how I do it. And when I'm thinking about the actors that come in, first thing I do is I pull everybody that I think is kind of right into a selects folder. And then with the screenshot of the original character, because does this voice look like it's coming out of this face? Um, do they sound close enough? Is this a vibe? And once everything is in a selects folder, I stop. I give it 24 hours if I have the luxury to do that. If not, I go get an ice cream or I take whatever time I can. Um, and I go back and then I start thinking about it and I come up with a few of the top selects from the selects folder. And then I start comparing those. Who sounds like they would be with this person, who sounds too close, who sounds different, who sounds like it could be their brother, who sounds like they're a perv or a goody goody, or, uh, you know, um, and I start making that connection. But also, when I'm done, I usually go back and rethink it even before I fully commit. And I keep a list, when I'm starting work on a show, even before I know what the show is. Sometimes I go back and I look at my list of people I really wanted to work on the last show that didn't work out. And they don't always get this show, but it is a starting, it's a jumping off point. I try to take everything in as small bites as I possibly can. So
Wow.
And
otherwise,
otherwise, you're just
Thank you.
overwhelmed.
yeah, yeah, otherwise I freak out.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good to see you.
You can set up the next person.
Yeah.
I been doing this for over 30 years. I still get scared. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
say to someone, I can't believe I'm still getting scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I get projects all the time, and my first thought is, okay, this is the one where they figure out I have no idea what I'm doing.
Tracy, hello, welcome.
Yay.
Well, hello. You really threw me a lot. So, well, the reason why is I'm an actor 41 years and I'm a singer and and I laugh and I've been hired for both of those. But you freaked me out because I guess I didn't understand what dubbing has been because I know a lot of friends who um, get hired for dubbing for languages. And then when you
Mhm.
said that you don't have to have languages, so do you dub from English to, I just don't
No,
understand you know,
I dub other languages into English.
okay, okay,
Yeah, now um I'm okay with German, I'm okay with French. I can communicate functionally in those languages, but I don't know the local dialects. I don't know. I can't identify if somebody has an accent or not when they're speaking.
right,
I don't know the colloquialisms. Like there are a lot of things that they'll say in one, like we say comparing apples and oranges. They don't say that in a lot of other countries. And it's going to be like, well, why are you talking about fruit for no reason?
right,
Um, so, I don't know a lot of those local things. High school French is not French.
right.
High school French is high school French. So having somebody from there, having somebody who knows the local dialect who would be like, we don't really say this anymore. Like even, je ne sais pas, which we're taught to say, a lot of times they don't even say the n anymore. It's je sais pas. Um, I wouldn't know that. So I don't direct dubbing in other languages. I do other languages to English. And a lot of the people I hire don't speak the original language. It's not necessarily a requirement, except in those rare cases where it is a requirement.
So it's to picture
Yeah,
everything you do. Okay.
yeah.
Well, because I know being a singer, singing like Latin and German has helped me
Mhm.
just as an actor because I know how to, say certain things. But
Right, right, right.
thank you for clarifying it
Yeah.
because I felt like, am I daft even
Yeah.
asking this question?
And singing is interesting because singing doesn't usually have an accent.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll hear people sing in English, and then when you talk to them, you're hearing this thick British accent. It's like, well, where'd that go? Um, yeah, singing is a different thing, but and a marketable skill for dubbing, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for telling me that.
If you're dubbing a good singer, the person's got to be able to sing. It can't
Yeah.
be just okay. I've had two shows that involved rappers, and somebody's got to be able to rap.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for clarifying because I felt embarrassed even asking, but I'm glad
No,
I know
don't.
now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, sure.
No, every
Of
question
course. Yeah.
fascinating and important. Jamie, who's next?
I'm bringing up Anoka if you want to turn your video on. I just requested. Okay, I don't know where you went. So I'm gonna bring up Valentina next then.
We're still gonna end with Andrew, unless Anoka, unless we find her.
This is Diana Lansling. I'm here. I've been here. So I'm just
Oh,
trying.
I see
You
you.
can call me back later if you want, but I've just been having connection issues. I apologize. I've been here the entire time. But
Okay.
thank you so much.
Valentina, you're on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much for this conversation. It has been an amazing conversation hearing from all of you. Andy, thank you
Oh, thank
for
you.
learning and keep improving and keep developing a technique that it's really we can tell pioneer,
Mhm.
maybe because it's something brand new. I remember doing the crossover from Colombia to the States, and it was a weird word to say dubbing. It, although my first lead role was in 2004, that was 22 years ago, um, that I've been doing dubbing in Spanish from any other language. So
Mhm.
it
Cool.
was hard for me to found my niche, especially in LA,
Mm,
having the technique but not having the language.
right.
But however, God is good, and there is a niche for Hispanic accents. So
Mhm.
I'm just a testimony of you can do this for a living. This is what I have done so far for the last 16 years. That's how I have health insurance, and I'm
Mhm.
all happy, and really I'm so glad to hear from you that you take care of the talent. And um, um, my question to you would be like, what would be the most challenging show you ever have to direct, in terms of translation in humor? Because things
Mm,
like I remember Horseman, the BoJack Horseman. It
mhm.
was hard for us. We did 6 seasons in Spanish, but the humor i- for Americans, it's totally different for Latinos. So for
Yeah.
us, translating the
Yeah.
jokes and all that. So that was my question to you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's actually a really good question because yeah, different cultures have different senses of humor. I had to do a show once and they said it's a dark comedy. And I watched it and I'm like, well, I'm seeing a lot of dark. We all have the same dark. We don't necessarily all have the same comedy. A lot of that honestly falls to the writer, the adapter, but you do have to have a sense of humor. Yeah, it's tricky, and some jokes just don't translate. And you got to do your best. You can change things a little bit if somebody is not on camera, if you're not actually seeing their mouth. You have a little more play. You can sort of change the wording of things to try and make it funnier. But if somebody is on camera, you're dealing with labials, you're dealing with dental labials, you're dealing with that mouth moving for X amount of time, you're dealing with somebody else's lines, you're dealing with the environment and the volume with which they're talking and their facial expression. And it can limit you, and you do have to keep the original intention of the show and the original intention of the scene. So you can't change anything that's going to change the show. Everything you do has to accent the show. And sometimes you miss a joke. Sometimes you have to just give up a joke. But it's something I keep my eye on. Fortunately, it's more of a writer issue than me. But as a director, you also have to recognize it as a joke. Something on a piece of paper or in a language you don't speak, that can be tricky. I'm never afraid to reach out to the network if I need you reach out through a producer. There's a chain. But I do put it out there. I say, I think this is such and such. Can we get clarity on it? I do my best. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, but usually it does. Yeah. Good question.
Great. Thanks, Valentina. Um, all right, Diana, I'm going to try you one last time, but just to keep it moving so we
Thanks,
get to
Valentina.
the other
Thank
people.
you. Thank you. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you.
Dan.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. I have video off because I'm commuting somewhere and I
Oh,
was
okay.
trying to safely unmute. I could hear everything. Thank you both. I thank you all, actually, Jamie and Terry and Andy for
You're
doing this. It's
welcome.
so
Thank you.
informative and so far it's been so inspiring. I was curious about if you had any tips about I've done live action ADR since
Hmm.
2010 and I know it's different because
Hmm.
it's unscripted and but it has some crossover. So the question I had asked in the chat earlier was just to understand like where we can apply those skill sets, where they're an asset. And then when it comes to something like you were talking about the auditions and being a good actor, and when
Hmm.
we're not given tone or we don't know the tone of a show, like when we're doing live action ADR, we get so much tone from like seeing that moment. And in this
Hmm.
case, when we're auditioning, we're never going to get that. We're never going to
Right.
get a script. So I'd love to know some of the things you listen for when you're listening to an audition to hear like levels or character levels. Any tips and tricks on that would be amazing.
Oh, I love
Um,
this question. And don't forget to answer her first part.
mhm.
What
Um,
can she use? What can people use from the ADR for this? Yeah.
right.
Wow.
Well, I mean, live action, because you said live action. Live action is scripted and unscripted. So there are like I'll talk about like the show I did, Roosters. That was scripted. So that's full on dialogue replacement. Um, Badly in Love or Love is Blind or Too Hot to Handle, that's unscripted. So that's not dialogue replacement. That's what they call simulsync now. You're talking for the same amount of time. You start and stop when the actor does, which is different than how they used to do it. But you know, you do still have the original track in there. You keep the other person's laughs, their cries, anything that's sort of a universally understood noise. Um, Words are noises, they're just not universally understood noises, which is why we replace those. But as far as how you apply those skills, it's sort of like saying, how do you apply your skill doing a car commercial to doing a beer commercial? I mean, it is similar skills. Um, we make accommodations on our end. There is a word count that we need to meet when we're working. If something is unscripted, I might have to get 450 to 500 words an hour done. If it's scripted, it might be 200 to 250. We do allow more time for that. So a lot of it is us accommodating what is going to be coming into the booth. As far as not knowing tone and stuff like that from an audition, I worked on a show. I think I said this in a panel recently. I worked on a show that was about rugby a while back. And if you know anything about rugby, rugby players will play no matter what. If it's raining, they're going to play in the rain. If there's an earthquake on the field, they're going to run around it. But there's nothing that stops a rugby game. And there's this one scene where the busload of players is going to the big game, and the rookie, the new guy, is looking out the window. He's like, "It's raining out. We're going to be playing in the rain." And the coach turns and goes, "Yeah, well, it's raining for the other team too." If you don't know the tone, if you haven't been given a piece of information, if you don't know the volume, if you don't know that stuff, nobody else does. It's raining for the other team too. You are still on an even playing field with everybody else. Everybody else has the same amount of information. Also, when a lot of people teach auditions and talk about auditions, we approach it as if you've never auditioned for us before. If we know you, if we know who you are, we can compensate. A just okay audition can still be a great audition. Um, if you don't worry about information you don't have and can't get. If it was incredibly important, we would have told you. If it was incredibly important and we didn't tell you, then we're going to know because we're going to get a ton of auditions of people wrestling with the same issue that you are. Geez, nobody's coming in loud enough. Well, okay, I didn't tell people, and we can reach either compensate for it and trust that this person can go louder, or we're going to reach out to people and go, can you do this again and do it louder? So any problem you're having or think you're having is either not really a problem or not your fault. Does that make sense? You can't act what you don't know. So if you're sitting there worrying about it, that is something you can control to a point. I mean, you can't stop yourself from worrying about something, but you can choose not to worry about the fact that you're worrying about it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was more so. I hope you can hear me still. I'm
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
I'm on a commute, so hopefully you hear me
yeah.
okay.
No, I got you.
I think so much of it was also just the idea of like if there's certain standouts in an audition as well. of just moments of where you
Mhm.
hear transitions and any of that. And this has all
Yeah.
been so fantastic. You've answered so many things
Great.
in just answering my question. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. Well, I will say about standouts. What stands out in one audition does not stand out in another. It's contextual. I've heard an actor lose me in the first 10 seconds because what I'm thinking doesn't match that. I mean, it just doesn't fit. Often it's genetic. The voice quality is just not there. But then that same actor doing that same thing with that exact same philosophy jumps out at me on another audition because my thinking is different. If if you are not in the mood for Italian food, nothing an Italian restaurant is going to serve you is going to be right. But tomorrow you suddenly are in a mood for Italian food. And that same Italian restaurant doing that same thing, everything is going to look amazing. And it's the same with auditioning. And you don't know the context, but neither does anybody else. So you just have to work with what you know and know you've been asked to audition for a reason. And it may not end up being this job, but that same audition might get you another job. I cast somebody as a lead in Too Hot to Handle Brazil using the exact same audition that I actually specifically asked them not to audition again. I just asked them if I could submit them. And I submitted the same audition that they did not book from in season 1, and they booked season 2. So don't worry about it. If you don't know
Love it.
it, don't worry about it. Nobody cared enough to tell you. So why should you care enough to worry about it?
Love it.
Oh, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Thank you so much for being so thorough in your answers.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Marie Angela.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Andy.
Wow.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Man, I wish I had such a. My question sucks compared to that last one. So
That's
sorry
not
about
true. It's not true.
That's a good way to start.
that. Great question, by the way. Yeah. So, anyways, Andy, I've seen your name pop up in literally every single actor feed that I know. I see your name pop up in Actors Connections. I've also been a reader for One-on-One Next Level the last 4 years. So obviously, you already know about that. My question is, it's to my understanding, if we were to take any of your classes, you do recommend having a solid VO intact before we take your class. And as I'm in the process of making one right now, do you recommend making a commercial one, a impressions one, and a character one? And if so, do you want them all together, or is it better separately
Okay.
and there's a cap?
Okay, you're talking about demos
Demos, yeah,
or reels. Yeah.
specifically
Um,
for your class, because
okay.
your class has been
I
on my to-do list for forever.
I actually don't require that for my
Ah,
class.
that might be my high level nest trying
Yeah, I
to
mean, I
connect.
don't not work with somebody because they have one. I mean, it's a great tool to have, but no, I don't require it for my class. To be honest, some people are not ready to make one. But I will say, even for dubbing, often even for really character-driven stuff, I'm probably going to listen to a commercial demo before I listen to anything else.
Really?
Yeah, because a commercial demo tells me who you are. A character reel will give me a bunch of characters that you can do. Um, and it'll give me a lot of indication about how you handle that kind of work. But what if the character I'm looking for is not on your reel? Um, Knowing who you are opens up the minds to imagination. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And your commercial demo can have like a wackier, funnier commercial on it and a more serious commercial, but it's going to let me know who you are. Cool. A character demo is like, okay, they have a pretty good range, unless it's a bunch of stuff you've really done and I'm actually looking at video. And then I kind of get like, okay, this person knows the dynamic. This person obviously can do more because a lot of people are hiring them. And I know that even in the character you've shown me, you probably did 8 other small characters in the show. Um, if it's got something with video attached that you've done, that's a different thing. But if it's got video, you can just grab it and put it together yourself. You don't really need to spend money on that.
Mm.
My first bit of advice to anybody doing a demo is commercial. It's the most practical, it's the most relatable. Um, that's my advice, you
Okay.
know.
And obviously you
Now,
recommend them separate.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Don't nobody. I mean, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but if I were to look at your demo, I'm not going to jump to the 15-second mark to start hearing your character stuff, and I'm just not going to do it.
Okay. And
You
then is
know,
there a cap you recommend for commercial and character?
uh, you mean somebody to do a demo?
Hmm.
There's a lot of really good people out there. What I would recommend, there are forums that are sort of better for finding that information than me necessarily. Um, because also this is on the spot, I might forget somebody or something. I
It's
would reach out to people you trust that sound like you, that are kind of up for the same things you're up for. Listen to their demos, and if you like it, see where they had it done. Check prices, um, and things like that. Because there's a lot of really good ones out there, but there are some that are not so great. Um, and check them out. Check feedback on them.
Right.
That would be
Okay.
my best answer.
yeah.
Otherwise, I really have to kind of sit down and think about it.
On like how long they should be?
Oh, how long they should be? A
Mhm.
minute,
Okay. Nothing past the minute.
maybe a little over if it's great. But yeah, I mean, I know some people that go to like a minute and a half. If it's great, you can do that. But if you can keep it to a minute, that's optimal.
Well, when
Minute,
you
minute.
go to your professional demo producer, they know how long, but yeah, it's
Right.
a minute, minute and
Yes.
a half.
Yeah. And just because somebody knows music doesn't mean they know how to make a demo.
Mm.
Somebody who is familiar with the needs of whatever medium you're doing the demo for.
Mm.
In answer uh, to what Andy said, or adding on to, you can go to agents' websites and
Mhm.
listen to everyone's demos. So if there's a voiceover, where you like their demo, a person, then you can get in touch with them and find out who did their demo.
Yeah, I know Vox, you can hear them, CESD, you can
Yeah,
hear them, Access, you can hear them.
yeah,
Uh,
all of
yeah,
them
yeah.
probably.
I did
I
not
think
know.
Innovative.
Yeah, or you can just Google the actor's name
Mhm.
and their, website will come up or
Yeah.
their demo. Yeah.
Wow, what hidden treasures? I had no idea. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and that's not a dumb question. That's a great question.
No, it's a great question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put in a plug because it just reminded me talking about the commercial. I'm sure everyone here is already doing voiceover, but if you're not, I happen to have a 3-session core kickstart for commercials, but that's for people who have no voiceover experience yet at all. So if you're there, Jamie, here,
Mhm.
which, like I said, probably you're all doing voiceover, but if you're not, if you're an actor who haven't done voiceover yet, it's just 3 compact
I
sessions.
think there's also stuff on that that even people doing voiceover could use. Just because you're doing voiceover doesn't mean you know
Well,
everything.
this one is pretty basic. I
Yeah.
have one
Okay.
that's pretty amazing. That's a voice branding. It's not branding out there for the world, which is amazing, and that
Cool.
that would be better for them.
Cool.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, so thank you everybody for being here. It's really cool. I was originally going to ask you about remote, but I something else came up. I had an experience with a campaign once, voiceover campaign, and I kept getting called into these specific auditions, and I didn't realize it, but it was the engineer in this studio that was recommending me to these producers to pull me in for demos and
Mhm.
stuff. Lesson learned.
Wow.
Because I rarely even noticed that this person was there. So
Mm.
now my question: what is the structure of your organization when you're doing your job? Producer, director, all of that. Who are the people in the room, and who are you answering to in this entire process while you're doing your work?
Hmm. My queen bee is always the producer. It's the person with the checkbook. Rarely do I answer to the network. There's usually a whole bunch of steps between me and the network. There are situations where I can reach out. I do know who kind of runs the department in most of the networks that I work for. Um, but that's rare. They have other stuff to do. And if it's a question somebody closer to me can answer, I'll get the answer faster and I'll get it more suited to what's going on in the immediate space. The person at the network's probably not going to know that. They, they award the job and then they expect the job done and they're on to the other things until the job comes in. Um, but I mean, the hierarchy of this business is this ladder kind of has two rungs on it. The person with the checkbooks on the top, and all the rest of us are sharing that second rung. There is no this person is more important than this person, or this person is over this person, or everybody, we've all got a job. It's a big old house of cards. Um, and we're
So,
all
who
leaning on
are
each
those
other.
people though? Like, who are you working with? I know you mentioned, I don't know, quite, several people involved.
Uh-huh.
When you're doing a show, are there three, four, five people that you're actually working with hand in hand?
Well, in the room, base level is going to be me, an actor, and an engineer. And the actor will be in the booth, not in the room, but in the space.
Yeah.
Me, actor, and an engineer. Sometimes network wants to sit in, sometimes producers want to sit in. When they do that, to be honest, they're looking at me and the engineer more than they're looking at an actor.
Yeah.
Um, so sometimes that happens. If there's a kid in the booth, if there's a minor, then there's going to be a studio teacher
Hmm.
who's in the room making sure that everybody's okay with language. Some parents are okay with their kids hearing swear words, sometimes not, making sure that any mature visuals are not being seen. And we have to turn off whatever we have to turn off or mute whatever we have to mute. So sometimes there's a studio teacher in the room. Sometimes somebody brings a dog. Dogs are always welcome in my room. So,
Amen.
but the only constant is there's going to be director, engineer, actor.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
sure. Yeah, cool.
All right, I believe that's all the questions we are going to handle for today.
All right.
If anyone has follow-up
Um,
ones, we've sent you the info in the
mhm.
chat, so you can follow up with that if you have anything else for
Follow
you.
me on the socials. I will follow you back. You're welcome to email me. I don't, I'm not able to get back often, especially when a lot of people come in. So if you've emailed me, just know you have gotten a response. You just may not know what that response is. Um, but socials is kind of a better way. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Insta, I will follow you back.
This was fabulous. I found it fascinating.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
This
you.
was so much fun.
Thank you so much. You're a fabulous guest, and I will see you soon in
Yes.
person.
Yes. Again.
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Thank
And
you.
Jamie, thank you.
Right?
Absolutely. Thank you so
Yes.
much,
Thank
Andy.
you,
I always
Jamie.
love chatting with you and learning extra from you, and great questions from everyone today, too.
This is fun. Yeah, really
Yes.
good. Yeah. Amazing.
Cool.
Cool.
All
Awesome. And before we go, Jacob texted me. I want to see you. Okay, good. Good to see you too.
Good to see you, dude.
Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks,
I'll
y'all.
talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.